Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play Painted Live. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday evening. We're gonna stream some more. We're painting some more. It feels like have we fallen back into the groove? Maybe, maybe. Let's get into it. Let me load up my comment section and title this video. So let us do that. Once again, hope you guys are doing well. I am just happy that I'm not at work right now. That's the main thing. That's the main thing. I'm gonna just survive off of that. Um, and tonight I'm gonna tell you what we're painting. Ugh. All right, so we're gonna go painting GodTear Finvarr. I think that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And then I'm gonna put in the description hashtag GodTear. Hashtag Steamforged Games. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, and that looks like that was saved. And let's go to events. And I'll show you what is going down on the Crowny Town right now. So once again, just want to thank everyone for tuning in, checking us out. But yeah, I'm excited. This is my first time painting some GodTear. Bruh, we're painting some GodTear. Here we go. Oh, what? Oh, no. I gotta fix my camera. Can't show you the GodTear with the camera not working. Let's go to advanced. Alright. So I'll put this here. We'll turn off autofocus. There we go. Whoa. Right there. Okay. Cool. So here he is, man. The man, the myth. Finvarr. Finvarr. And these are his dual-wielding minions. The Church of Dual Wield. Ah, yes. So, this is the Church of Dual Wield. And you got dual wield sword. You got dual wield swords behind the back. Sneaky swords. And then you have dual wield flail, bruh. But look at how this guy is really dual wield. Like, check out his dual wield. He has dual wield swords, dual wield flails, and then on his back, more dual wield swords. Bruh, that guy's pretty dual wield. This guy here is really just a single. So the other two guys are just like single dual wield, but this bra here is the most dual wield. And then the point is to be more like their champion, who is single wield, double-handed weapon. Brah. All right. So we're gonna paint. We're gonna paint in the eyes, which are nearly impossible to paint in, but we're gonna do it anyway. I like to have eyes even on models like this where you really can't see their eyes much at all, but I like to do it. I like to paint those eyes in. I just have to find my my dark color to do this. Looks like, I mean, I could use this pure black. This is not a bad pure black. Prefer not to, but it's right here and it's a dark color. So we're gonna do that. It's a little dark. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a little dark. A little darker than I like. But I do not like painting eyes and hoods. It's just not, oh gosh, I should really refill that sucker, my little squirt bottle there. But we're gonna go for it, guys. Gosh, I really need to move stuff on this extremely crowded table. That's what you get. Mess with GodTear. I don't know why I'm like calling GodTear out for being like the most bruh game. It does have a bruh, super bruh name to it. GodTear. So the name is pretty bruh when it comes down to it. Such tiny little eyes. Man, this is not going to end well with how tiny those eyes are. Eyes are so tiny, bruh. GodTear tiny. You can't see my eyes because I'm a dual wield guy. Woo! Yeah. You can't even really get in there. We'll do what we can. We'll do what we can. Maybe if I even just go with like white, bright white eyes, maybe that's good enough. That's why I'm painting this warband first, though. It's not the most entertaining warband to paint because there's no fun face. Just a lot of brutastic stuff to deal with. Jeez, I can't even get that part of the eye on that side. Okay, here we go. Braver man than me, you should just skip out. Yeah, eyes under hoods are fairly pointless, I will totally admit. What's up, Zachariah White? Yeah, ugh, I can't explain it. I still have to make an effort. Will anyone see these eyes? Probably not. Probably not. I just need to have them there. But yeah, doing the Church of GodTear, or Finvarr and his minions, the dual wielding cult. One day we can unequip one of our two weapons and just have a two-handed weapon, like our champion Finvarr. But it sounds like I'm talking a little trash about GodTear. I'm talking a little trash about GodTear. It's okay though, right? It's cool. Wow, we can't even. I'm gonna need to. I'm gonna zoom in the camera here so you can see a little bit at least of painting the eyeballs in. Okay, let's zoom this in. What are you working on, Zachariah? Whew. Yeah, let's get us in tighter here, cause it's cool that you can see the whole model, but I don't care that much. Yeah, there we go. Get you zoomed in like that so you can see more of the detail on the model. So there's Finvarr, and then we're gonna go in with the dual wielding folks. I'm gonna get these whites in, but again, I doubt anyone will see them. Someone will point it out to me, though. Bruh, you got the whites in their eyes. They really are the church of dual wield. So I want to go. Their scheme in the art is kind of a gray and brown. You know, it's a real kind of cold scheme, and I like that. I like it's a little bit of like a winter theme, and I'm down with that. So I will also be doing these guys in kind of a wintry theme. Woo. Okay. Right now you're modeling some 3D printed tokens for GodTear. Hopefully I'll have them up on Thingiverse. Nice. GodTear tokens would be nice. Little warband tokens and the blights and the buffs or whatever they're called in this game. What's up, Nelson? Double. It's time for the Church of the Dual Wield. I wasn't sure if I was gonna paint Church of Dual Wield or if I was gonna paint um, the elves with bows yet, because I love those models. But when I'm painting, what I normally do is when I'm painting sets of models, especially if it's the first sets of models that I've ever painted within the range, I usually start with the sculpts I like the least. And if I'm being honest with you, amongst the 3 sets that I have of GodTear, these are my least favorite sculpts. And again, most of it has to do with the hoods. The hoods kind of drive me crazy. Um, but I've doing some. I've got the other warbands in various degrees of prep. So trying to get Finvarr's eyes in correctly. You can't even tell. The eyes are so small and they're so buried in there. You can't even tell. And then I've got to figure out. I'm gonna figure out what my color scheme is on these guys. Oh gosh, cannot get that. Can't even get it to dot correctly. They're so the wells for the eyes are so deep sometimes. I'm really trying to draw this into a super fine point so I can get in there. Just dot the eye. I think I got it. Looks like it. Yeah, that's about as good as that's gonna get. Um, and then for these guys, I can't really dot the eyes. Well, I can. Like here, I'll just close up that eye right there. There you go. And this guy here, I'm also going to close up this eye here. And this last one here. Ooh, yeah. It's fine. We're just going to let that go. Okay, so now we have to determine what the cloth and the armor looks like on these guys, right? So I am going for a winter theme. So I'm thinking the all the grid pattern here, here, and here, like the armor, we're going to hit with etheric white. I'm sorry, etheric blue. This may be actually darker here. These robes are probably going to be like a Griff Charger gray. I may do Griff Charger gray and I don't know. Do I do a plague? Do I do like a rotten skin? I do want two different types of cloth on here. So, um, so I guess the cloth on the face can be this color, right? And then I'll offset it with another color. And then, well, so yeah, so right now I'm just trying to figure out what my color scheme is going to be. So it's going to be a lot of pale colors because we are talking about winter soldiers. Bruh. I have to dual wield in winter, bruh. But I like this little bit of green in here because it's going to remind me that these are sort of creatures, you know, they're elves. They're like the creatures, they're worshippers of nature. So even though he's all bred out Assassin's Creed style, he's still going to have some green underneath all this stuff. Right? So just a little bit of green underneath to kind of denote, you know, almost like these guys are they're the guardians that are awaiting spring, essentially. So I'll do all that, basically, all that undergarment here and here will all be green. But again, very pale green. If I don't like anything, you just paint over it. It's not that big a deal. So yeah, pale green there. We're also going to have, they're going to have, I guess like leather boots. Well, yeah, they could do leather boots and Griff Charger gray as sort of the surcoat overcoat color. So these guys gotta have, there's certain things you must have to be a member of the Church of Dual Wield. One, you have to have a green mask, just like that. Then you have to have green sleeves. So we'll paint in some green sleeves. This GodTear stuff, a lot of the GodTear stuff will paint up super quick. Because they're not the most complex designs, and it's SFG, so you don't need, you know, you probably want some experience painting belts, because oh my god, do they make a lot of belts. I also have to figure out what color there's sort of a hard chain that they have. You know, I wonder, maybe I make that etheric blue as well. I just don't want I want these models, the color scheme, to be fairly washed out. Because again, we're going for winter. We're going for a more wintry theme on these minis. Okay. And just notice that all of them have one scale slide. You should write the fluff for this game. Yes, indeed. If you're gonna be part of dual wield, you better listen. Listen up well. When you they got belts on top of belts with on. Yes, that is the SFG way. Is overload it with belts. Was there a question? Is there a comment? Belts. More belts. Guess what, buddy? Belts. Oh, that's super cool. I do like his little cloth there. That's cool. So we're gonna figure out what the scheme is on these models from doing like the major color blocking. So we're gonna do, like I said, it's one of my preferred things to do with contrast paints is to color block. Because once you get the color block down, if it's a good contrast paint and you did a decent job, then you have a basis there. You have a what is essentially a base coat and a shade coat, and you need to go in, figure out how to highlight all this stuff, bring it all back. Try to tease that detail out of it. Oh man, Finvarr has two-handed weapon. Uh-oh. About to get interrupted. Yeah. Okay. So this will form the undergarments right here. And he doesn't have too much of this green underneath. All right. So that. Okay. Oh, no problem, dude. Not an issue. Okay. So let this dry. And we'll continue on with our rather pale color scheme here. Okay. All right. So now, the next thing we want to do is we want to do this like gridded cloth. And that gridded cloth will be the etheric blue. Okay, so let's get some etheric blue. Again, I could change my mind and say I don't like it after it goes down. Etheric blue is very difficult, in my opinion, to actually get the color that you want. So this may not work 100%, but we're playing around with color schemes and we're going to see what works and what doesn't. So where is my etheric blue? I just like color blocking with these paints because it's just, for one, it's faster, and then it really does give you an indication of, when a color that you intend to layer up or highlight up or down, how it's going to work. Wow, I really cannot find my etheric blue. It's got to be here. Hold on. Let me stand up and look down at my table, because a lot of times they're just sitting there. Archelian blue is a really, really nice blue. but it's too intense for what I'm trying to do here. It's another Griff Charger. Here it is. All right. So he's got a lot of stuff right there, but we're gonna go with this ethermatic blue on this armor. Actually, it looks like the Griff Charger Gray should be next. Actually, so let's do Griff Charger Gray. So the hood, the overcloak, all that stuff will be Griff Charger Gray. So I'm talking about this right here. So we really are talking about a pretty desaturated color palette here. It looks like Finvarr has some hair showing there too. Hey, what's up, Shadowcat? Morning, all Merry Thulamus for you and your family. I guess I will greet you that in return. I'm more of a Krampusnacht guy, so happy Krampusnacht for those of you Krampus fans out there. You know I'm a Krampus fan. Okay. Wow. These guys have so many layers of their clothing. We have a lot of layers because we have to dual wield quite a bit. You don't know what it's like. You chose the dual wield. I was born into the dual wield. How you doing, Shadowcat? Did you working on any fun painting projects currently? This may end up looking way too desaturated, which I'm okay with, right? If that's what it ends up looking like, that this is just way too desaturated, then as I start to highlight up with the opaque paints, um, we may deepen up certain things. But for right now, it seems to be alright. I just keep. So he has a chest plate. I mean, these things really just kind of remind me of Shadow Warriors from GW. GW High Elves. For those of you who remember what High Elves are. High Elves are like one of the races that GW wants to forget. Yeah, I know Thulu from HP Lovecraft. GW does not. They don't like. Uh, they they don't. They seem to be in this phase where they don't really like the high elf aesthetic specifically. They're okay with elves, but high elves or they would prefer like dark elves or Sylvaneth or Deepkin. You're not seeing just not much love for high elves anymore. They're really just not feeling. They're not feeling the pansy. And they're not feeling the high elf. And I loved. It was one of the very few GW aesthetics that I really enjoyed over the years was high elves. I loved how just completely arrogant they were, and how they just thought they were better than everybody, and they were prettier than everybody, and their designs were just so pretty. I really did like all the the use of white and blue and yellow. Stormtroopers repainting judges from the Judge Dredd starter set. Cool. That's cool. I haven't looked at that Judge Dredd game in years and years. We did try playing it at one point. It was not a bad game. The one we played was more it was more narrative than anything, and that was kind of cool. And you had a character, you had like character advancement and that kind of stuff. Fantasy Romulans, yes, Fantasy Romulans. I'm down with that. I just wish GW was like okay with their aesthetic. They seem to hate him now. I'm gonna put way too much Griff Charger Gray there. I think this is gonna end up being way too desaturated. But it's okay. We'll figure it out. That's why we do this. That's why we color block with these contrast paints, because if it's too desaturated, that's a much easier problem to fix than I used contrast paints and ended up with too bright of a color. I don't know why they have these like little spats here. Why do they have spats over their shoes? You can't just dual wield, bro. You need spats. In addition, first step is spats. Second step, 2 weapons. Third step, figure out how to go down to 1 weapon. This is a new one from Warlord Games. Yeah, didn't Warlord Games make the previous Judge Dredd? Or am I just looking at that incorrectly? Yeah, it's just it's this is gonna look too desaturated. It's okay though. Like I said, it's too desaturated. We go in, we hit it with some proper paint, some proper adult colors here. Like doing this kind of stuff is mostly harmless to the Mini, as far as your ability to clean it up and return it to where it was. This stuff is mostly harmless. Look at that Church of Dual Wield. We'll leave the Groove Charger Gray for here for now. And we'll move over to the weird hex stuff. Or anything else I know. Well, that's not bad. Okay, let's move on to the hex portion of the armor. So again, we're going to go Ethermatic Blue there. And we'll just see how it goes. Hopefully this does give us some cool variation to the look. that is already fairly cool. Oops, I got to get the back part of this tabard with Griff Charger Gray. Yeah, I'm liking that. That's kind of cool. Let's just make sure we get all of it. Okay. In fact, before I move on, let's get the rest of it. That was Mom Goose Publishing, and they got the license and the like. This version plays like Strontium Dogs game. Oh, cool. I can't really comment on Strontium Dogs as I've never played that game. But thanks for the education. I do try to keep up with, the happenings on as many miniature games as I can. But we only kind of focus in on some of them. Yeah, I don't know if this is a very washed out look. So we will be amending this look. Spats no mud on the socks or in the shoes. Yeah, this is a very pale look so far. It is going to need some additional color to it. Not that it's bad. It doesn't look horrible. It's just right now there's just not enough going on. Oh, I forgot. I'm going to also hit this part of the armor with the Ethermatic Blue as well. So that's giving us a starting point with which to grow our team. So Mr. Finvarr himself here seems to be wearing more armor than his dudes, and it's fairly splendid armor. I like using that term when describing how people look, especially like warrior cast and stuff. You say he has splendid armor or resplendent armor. I still like saying splendid because I think of Machao the Splendid. It's such a great title. Machao the Splendid. It's a really, really pretty armor going over the top here. Right, I'm even gonna let some of that solid just stop there because it looks cool. And then we'll do that. Oops. So you can see Finvarr he's very bright, wintry looking dude. His armor is just nuts though. I like the greaves. Tell you what's looking out of place right now is that the green the green underneath is looking out of place. That seemed to have covered pretty well, but it just looks out of place. Okay. There we go. All right, we'll let that dry. So Drift Charger Gray and Ethermatic Blue are usually colors that I use either just to finish off an effect or base coat a color like white. I really like using Drift Charger Gray as an undercoat for white. Um, and I usually go Drift Charger Gray followed by Glacier Blue or Wolf Gray, and then just very top of the edge highlight with actual white. That's been the system that's always worked well for me. But I don't know everybody else's system, so there we go. Anything else that needs to be? Yes, this part here does. Okay. I don't know if it's gonna work, honestly. I don't know if this color scheme is gonna work. It's just a lot of super pale colors. I may have oversaturated the models. Speaking of which, I just found a bunch of areas on this model that really should be Drift Charger Gray. This model in particular, and then most of the other models too, are probably missing some areas that are supposed to be Drift Charger Gray. All right, so if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. Tonight we're painting up some GodTear, or trying to at least. Okay, not bad. Now we got to figure out that scale armor, and this is where things are gonna get a little cool in my opinion. I want to use Archelian Green, but Archelian Green on its own is it's just too intense. So I'm gonna thin it with contrast medium to dull down that Archelian Green somewhat. Or Archelian Blue. No, sorry, it's called Archelian Green. It looks more like a blue to me. But we're definitely getting these weird. So far, so weird. They do look strange. So 50-50 Archelian Blue with some contrast medium. And that's just going to be all of the like chain areas. And that's going to give us a. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, Church of Dual Wield indeed. There's just a lot of. Now it's really starting to give the character some different options for colors. So I definitely have the different types of armors that and what colors I want to represent them in. The scale armor is going to be this Archelian Green, whereas the plate armor is going to be this Ethermatic Blue. So lots of blues and greens collaborating on this guy. I mean, he is an elf, so he's cool. He's got blue scale there, blue scale here. I think we may actually have to go back and paint some of this stuff over. Because I don't know if we got it. I don't know if we were consistent about how we painted the different aspects of the armor. And then you're always just missing stuff, so. Yeah, this is a bright dude, though. Ugh. So there's going to be a lot of touch-ups on these. We're going to add a little bit of Basilicanum Gray on these models. Okay, done, done. And they'll come to life. I got this. We're all right, folks. Oops. As soon as I said that, I started painting the wrong color. Good job. Like, I got this, folks, and screwed up immensely. Here's that guy. It's looking pretty cool. Okay. Very, very, very odd color scheme. I think I figured out what's actually wrong with this color scheme, though. And I think it's because the green sleeves are terrible. I'm going to fix those. We're going to make them black. Or not black, but like very dark. Close to black. And I think that will really help this model, you know, instead of looking like a wild blue rainbow, we really get to show off some of the desaturated color palettes and how cool they can really look. I'm a big fan of really narrow color palettes, but just making sure they're really, really nice color palettes. In other words, I like color palettes that are really only a handful of colors. And, you know, these pieces rely more, the way I would judge them is they would rely more on your technical skill, not so much the other stuff. Okay, but yeah, I think that's the problem. I think that's it, man. We're gonna I gotta find that German gray so I can darken these models up a bit, right? Add a little bit of shadow to them. Where is that German gray? Hopefully it didn't fall on the ground or anything. I hope not. I have my paints just in too many different places. That's gray liner. I don't care. What are you? That's true black. I don't want true black. I just want German gray. Where is German gray? This is upsetting. Oh, there, I found it. Okay. Yeah, I think a healthy dose of this will help bring these models back into a darker, wintry look. These are very dark colors. So we're going to use this dark color over that plague bearer flesh. Oops, and I totally missed that. But we're going to go like this and kind of revitalize those parts of the model. And I'm going to do the shoes. The individual shoes will be dark. Yeah, these models remind me of Shadow Warriors from Warhammer, but more like, I don't know. They're Shadow Warriors, but these are a little more wintry, especially the way I'm going with the color scheme. Okay. You can see that's already kind of given the model more of a deeper look. Whoa. So I'll do that, and then I'm also going to juice of a lemon, a drop or two of honey and hot water. I'm not sure what I'm not sure what that's for. Are you talking about how to fix my sore throat, or is that how to redo these models? Let's do this. Yeah. I mean, they are ninja elves. Let's give them a little bit of darker colors. They'll be fine. Ninja elves will be fine. Okay. All right. Let's do Finvarr, as he is the most ninja elf of the ninja elves. Oh man. There's a lot of just weird sub-elements to these models. So I'm missing a lot. I'm trying to batch paint, but I'm missing a lot. because there's so many layers, right? This model's wearing underclothing, and then it has tabards, and then it has uh, clothing over that. Like, dude, calm down. Why do you need so many different layers of clothing? And just make sure that anything that doesn't exactly need to be foreground can be dark. Okay. Okay. Good old Finvarr. All right. Let's keep going here. I absolutely like these guys better with... Oh, shoot. Totally forgot. I need to do the feet. Very Tolkien-esque style elf. But I like it. Yes, it's an old design, but it's been a while since I personally have seen, um, you know, a really, what I consider to be a really cool representation of elves. So this is fairly cool. Okay. Very quiet evening, guys. Very, very quiet. What is going on, people? Why is it so quiet? Let me know if I'm the only person that's feeling kind of meh over Christmas this year. Just not really feeling it. Let me know in the comments if you are also. Son of a... Hold on. Kind of meh here. Okay. Not bad. Let's do the central. He has like this kind of central apron here. I guess that's going to be a different color. I don't know what color that should be. We'll figure it out. But yeah, this is going to be a very desaturated looking crew here. Are you getting tired? I'm getting tired. Sometimes I'm like painting and I'm talking and I'll be falling asleep at the same time. My my mind will just wander off and I'll be saying shit that doesn't make any sense. You guys have caught me doing that on this stream several times actually. Yeah, it's just I don't know, man. It's just not a good Christmas. Not feeling it. Not feeling the Christmas spirit. I don't know what's gonna snap me out of it. I should be, overall pretty grateful for what I have, and how life has been treating me thus far. Can't really complain too much about that. But I don't know, just not really feeling it. I just need. I guess I don't really want. I don't need anything exciting to happen. I don't think. I don't know. But I appreciate that I'm not the only person that's feeling kind of meh about all this. Yeah, that plague bearer flesh just looks really out of place with the rest of this color scheme. So coming in with this dark, this German gray, it's kind of nice. I really don't want any like warm colors here. I wonder what it is. Like what would what would snap me out of this meh and put me in the holiday mood? I wonder. I honestly probably won't even feel it uh, until my kids are opening their presents. I think that's it, right? I don't really like Christmas until my kids are opening up their presents and seeing them super excited about stuff. That gets me in the Christmas spirit. But otherwise, if it's just like me, like I don't even want to like open shit. I don't want to get anything. I don't know. I guess the other big thing to celebrate is the days off of work. So hey, that's let's celebrate that. That's good. What else needs to happen here? I want this to be dark. I like this scheme. It's a lot um, brighter and elfier than the artwork in the books. Pretty cool. All right, so now let's do some basilicanum gray and start tagging the rest of the like. Oh shoot! See, there are bits like you just miss lots of stuff. They should be black. Well, like I said, we'll get some basilicanum gray out. Start hitting the metallic bits. Should these be? No. Oh. Okay. You know what? I do want to hit these with. Yeah. I do want these to be this color. Because it's such a nice color. And I'll hit the little cross straps there after. Ooh. Whoops, I screwed that up. There we go. Quite a bit of tedium here. Getting all this together. I could have, if I'd planned this as my color scheme, probably could have segmented the model out a little bit better than I did, but that's okay. We'll keep going. Okay. This is quite nice, like to have this color coming in as the scabbard color or the sheath color. It's pretty damn cool. Okay. I wonder if this becomes, should that also become that color? I don't know. Like I said, I like limited palettes, so I don't like to have, for color schemes, I don't like to have more than 3 main colors. 3 main colors is really what I want to do, and then, you know, they're just going to be parts of the model that are not part of those 3 main colors, and as long as the other colors don't take away too much from a super strong theme, then I'm pretty happy with that. All right. I don't know if it looks like these are in their sheaths, so I guess you do paint these like this. Paint those like they're in their sheaths. Whoa. Gotta be more careful about this. This is the problem with contrast paints. Little mistakes can be annoying to have to come back and fix. You got these here. Yeah, that looks a lot better. The dark colors look a lot better. Okay. I'm still not convinced that this is the right thing to do, but we're still trucking along. We'll just, like I said, you just keep pushing, you keep painting until you like it or you don't like it. So we're gonna hit these blades with Basilicanum Gray. I just don't know about that Griff Charger Gray. I'll highlight it. I'll highlight that up to white. I think that's what I have to do to make this work. Just highlight those up to white. There we go. Get that. Get a little space in there. Okay. And then, I mean, this should take up the rest of the color blocking. So that's like the initial color blocking of what Finvarr is supposed to look like for me, and how I'm planning on painting Finvarr. Let's fade this blade out, right? All right. Okay. Like I said, we're blocking right now. We'll get the details in as we can. Yeah, that Griff Charger Gray is not looking good on its own, so I will have to address that. We'll do what we're supposed to do when that doesn't work is we go in, start hitting it with opaque paints. And I know what I'm gonna do. Okay, but for now, let's get all this ready for the next stage when we come back to the weapons. Okay. Very quiet comment section. You guys don't have any comments? Should we get in an argument over Star Wars? That was a joke. I'm too tired to get in an argument over Star Wars. I mean, I guess if you trolled hard enough, you could probably bait me out into arguing with you about Star Wars, but I don't know how how worthwhile that would be. We could also talk about GodTear if you have any questions about GodTear. Um, you know, I have limited experience with the game, but I think I understand the base mechanics enough such that I can help, brand new players maybe find their way around in it. Hmm. I think I'm just gonna do that. We're just gonna hit it with Basilicanum Gray right there. Call it a day. Yeah, we're just gonna do that. Just gotta get rid of the stuff that's pooled. They're all so dull right now. This dude with his many weapons. And his flails. Okay. I just don't know how I feel about these yet. About my color scheme. It's getting better, I think, as I do more. But I'm just still not 100% convinced that this is the color scheme I want to go with. Mainly as I start to go through it, some of these colors just look a little too washed out. Like I said, I am going for a winter theme, but they do seem more washed out than they probably should be. So, but yes, those are some cool flails. Okay. All right. So now, now I really want to get in and fix that Griff Charger Gray because it looks dumb. So we are going to turn that into more of a white color. Just have to find the right color. I guess I could do that. I think that's too bright. That's too bright. How about Okay, I don't really like any of those there. I keep reaching for the same color. That might be a sign that I should be using that color. Nah, it can't be. bet I have it here on my table. I bet I do. That must be it. What color is this? Glacier blue. Let's use glacier blue. Glacier blue is a nice color. And I do want to leave some of that really nice shading in there, so we'll hit this with glaze medium instead of just water. So we get softer edges, we get a little more working time. I guess I am going to give Finvarr, I do need to give Finvarr paint one little streak of Finvarr's hair. Let's do that before we get too far into this process. I may be looking into the Clone Wars version of Legion and Marvel Minis game. What Minis games are you painting up? So right now I'm painting up this GodTear stuff. I've also been painting lately. I've been painting more Aristea, Mythic Battles Pantheon, obviously for Nelson. So that's a commission game, and I do have some Guild Ball minis that need to be painted because I picked up some more Guild Ball stuff. So yeah, that's what's on my table right now. Look at the Finvarr. Get it, Finvarr. Okay. Yeah, Nelson and I were talking about Marvel Crisis Protocol tonight. That it does look pretty cool. I watched some of the gameplay. I was like, yeah, that seems alright. You know, if you're really into Marvel, I think that's the main thing though, right? If you love the IP, you're gonna get it. If you're maybe just sort of meh about it like I am, then it could go either way. I would almost base it more on, I don't mean to call anyone a moron. I meant to base it more on, you know, if there are people in my area that are very highly willing to play, then, you know, maybe I put together a team, paint one up, have for fun. That's kind of my, uh, that's kind of my MO anyways with GodTear is I don't really see myself being like the big GodTear guy. I just know that we have a handful of local players that are interested in playing, and so I could see myself breaking this out, you know, every now and then and doing the thing. Yeah, my kitty is talking. I'm a very talkative kitty. He doesn't like closed doors, so he'll come and meow at my door, and then he'll do that for a while, and then he'll go upstairs, meow at somebody else's closed door, and then come back down, and then meow again. It's kind of what he does. Oh shoot. See, I missed another spot back here. Let's get some more ether matic blue. My kitty is a very talkative kitty. And he hates closed doors, like a lot of kitties do. A lot of kitties hate closed doors. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna build this cloth, the Griff, you know, Griff Charger Gray. We're gonna build that up towards a white, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. There's like a border here at the bottom of the white, and I don't know what color that should be. Maybe that is becomes a very bright blue or like a sky blue. Could do that. So like I said, I made a glaze out of this glacier blue. And that's going to soften all this up. The Griffcharger Gray just ended up making everything look a little too dull. So this Glacier Blue should get me closer, back closer to the, almost like a white color for the snow. All right. It's good to be streaming again, though. Like I said, had a little bit of a break there because I was ill. I may play some more Ultima Online on stream if you guys are still interested in seeing more of that go down. Because I'm still playing Ultima Online. Just haven't, it hasn't been, it hasn't been nonstop like it was while I was sick. Because when I was sick, I didn't really want to get out of bed. So that was actually quite good for that kind of thing. So now we're doing this deal. They look like Force users. Ha 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 ha. Force users. The Knights of Dual Wield. We're the Knights of Dual Wield. Increase DPS, brah. Dual Wield. Look at that. Alright, I'm going to keep building those up. Look at this guy here. Dual wield, brah. I'm the man who dual wields behind my back. You don't even know what I'm dual wielding right now, do you? This guy just monologues with his dual wield, and you'll never know. He'll never actually kill anybody. He just holds the dual wield behind his back. You don't know what I'm about to hit you with, bruh. But you know I've got two of them. It's all you need to know, bruh. Mr. Slice and Dice. Am I the only one that thinks Finvarr is a stupid name? Finvarr. That's the name of the. That's the name of the champion. Finvarr. Okay. Two nuts. What should Finvarr's name be? If his name was Finvarr the Double-Handed, maybe that would be a little bit better. But he's secretly trained by Musashi. Or if we're talking RSA universe, Mushashi. What a stupid name. Mushashi? Really, Corvus Belly? Mushashi. You couldn't have just been happy with Musashi like the rest of planet Earth? Ooh, may have overpainted there. Finn to Star Wars. Oh man. Poor Star Wars. It's okay. Who would have known that we were watching we watched 6 movies about the apprentice to the main character in Star Wars. It's just so odd. I don't understand. I got questions. I don't know if I want to if I'm allowed to spoil Star Wars here for you folks on stream. But yeah, I got questions, ain't gonna lie. And I don't think I really want the answers to my questions. I just don't think they're very good questions. I don't I'm more disappointed that I'm having to ask these questions. But like, a lot of people tell me, like, just shut your mind off. Just shut your mind off and enjoy it. Okay. It's a good story. It's a good story if you just this is what they said during the Force Awakens. It's a good story if you just shut your mind off. It's a good story. Like, okay. And I'm like, really? That's your grand plan for how, to keep me from bitching and moaning. Is just try to tell me, it's a good story if you don't use your brain. Okay, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, you know, it's a really good song as long as you don't use your ears, you know? It's that dog shit is delicious if you just don't uh, use your taste buds. Just stop being so negative. Just shut off. Just shut off the main thing that you use to enjoy the main sense that you use to enjoy something with. Then you'll enjoy everything. It's a really shitty thing when people say that. Frankly, I really think it's shitty when it's like, don't complain. Oh, so just shut up and consume. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. Think about that for a second. Why are you telling me to shut up and consume? Uh, how about that main guy from The Witcher? I'm not gonna see the last one. Yeah, Henry Cavill, man. I remember the internet was like, the internet had a massive boner for that dude. Like a week ago, when he was giving an interview, and the interview wanted him to talk about toxic fandom. They're like, "Yeah, tell us about toxic fandom," and Henry Cavill was like, "I don't consider that toxic fandom. Just consider that people passionate about their freaking movies and video games and shit." And he's like, "They have every right to be passionate about that stuff." Thank you, Henry Cavill. Thank you, sir. Getting tired of this shut up and consume attitude. Like, just shut up and consume it. And then, and if you don't consume it, then if you don't like it and you voice your disapproval, then you're a quote unquote toxic fandom. I'm sorry, but fuck me. Isn't this supposed to be a capitalist society? Aren't we supposed to say, hey, if I don't like something, you don't like it. If I vote with my feet and I don't watch something, oh, you're toxic. Huh. And then they start like they don't want you to say anything. They don't want you to say anything that you don't, if you don't like it. And then if you don't go to it, in other words, because a lot of times it's like, okay, just shut up and vote with your feet, vote with your wallet, right? And I'm a big fan of that too, right? You should totally vote with your wallet, vote with your feet. Just don't buy it. If you don't like it, don't buy it. But they offer that up as an alternative to please don't criticize anything out loud, right? You don't have to say it out loud. If you don't like something, you don't have to say it out loud. Just vote with your feet. Just don't watch it. So then you don't watch it. And then what happens? Then it's, oh, these toxic fans, these man babies won't go watch my thing. There must be misogyny. What the actual shit, man? What the actual shit? Like, so really, so if there's something you don't like, this is modern society. All right, we got me ranting again. I'm awake. Um, if there's something we don't like in society, A, don't say that you don't like it. Don't criticize it because then you're toxic. B, don't not consume it. What? What the fuck kind of authoritarian society have we designed around blind consumption? Just doesn't matter if you like it or not. Just shut up and consume it. That's that's our answer, guys. That's what we're going for? Really? Jeez. What the actual shit are we trying to say here? Am I the only person that has a massive problem with that message? The whole shut up and like it. I no. No. I'm a I'm a skeptical asshole, and I'm part of the reason why that shit got popular in the first place because me, the skeptical asshole, liked it when it was good. Because when it was good, I voted with my feet, with my wallet. I went out and proclaimed it was good out in public. Why can't I exercise those same rights when I don't think something is good? Perfect description. I am I, I know I'm just mainly talking shit here, but am I the only person that notices that? That you're not, it's this whole just shut up and consume attitude towards everything? Oh, you don't like, you know, meanwhile, all the studios are rebooting everything and redoing everything that we liked because the studio understands that it's a bankable brand, that they will make, all these studio decisions are not based on they're not based on any sort of creative decision making whatsoever. It's a shareholder or a bean counter in the studio who's done the market research and says, people identify with this brand. Let's rerun this brand, and as long as we make this amount of money, that's all that matters, right? It's all that matters. And as far as giving people what they want, well, we got their money when we collected their money at the door. So, you know, the most minimal effort possible is what we want to do. We want to maximize profits. We don't want to take chances on, bold storytelling or new storytelling. And I get all this, right? Me working in the private sector, I get that. I get brand recognition, the powers of brands, and the strength of of brand recognition and getting stockholders want to back a sure thing, of course, right? But what this does in the creative sense is it kills true storytelling from ever happening again, because everything is based on what's bankable. And then to top it all off, they have this army of useful idiots running around telling people to shut up and consume. Oh, just shut up and consume. And it's most disgusting when we do it to each other, because then their job is really done, right? The first asshole that said shut up and consume, now they get to sit back and rest on their laurels and like, see, I started a cultural thing of just mindless fuckers that just shut up and consume everything. Right? Oh God, here we go. I'm Rey, granddaughter of the Emperor, but I'm a Skywalker. What the fuck? Yeah, okay. All right. Spoiler alert. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Rise of Palpatine a little bit. Not much. I'm not going to get into like details, that kind of shit, because frankly, I didn't go watch the movie. But I've watched enough spoilers to know the central plot of of Rise of Palpatine. I refuse to call it Skywalker because the title makes no fucking sense. All right, it's Rise of Palpatine, you idiots. All right, so let me get this straight. Star Wars, the 9 Star Wars movies, is ultimately about a man named Sheev Palpatine, his rise to power, his controlling the galaxy for several generations, training, corrupting a Skywalker, then trying to corrupt that Skywalker's son, losing his clone in a fight, building up building up another army while still controlling the galaxy, and then ultimately losing to another Palpatine, right? So in other words, Skywalkers are shit. Skywalkers are second fiddle for for 9 movies, and they call it the Skywalker saga. How you gonna call it the Skywalker saga when the Palpatines have been in control from beginning to end? Can someone please explain that to me? Why did we even focus on Skywalkers if Palpatines were in control of the galaxy from the beginning of the story and they're in control of the galaxy at the end of the story? Why would you, and if you're Rey, why would you change your name to Skywalker? Can you point out the point where the Skywalkers have surpassed the Palpatines? Because both Luke and Leia trained Rey, dude. It's like, I'm sorry, but if you are, I guess she's gonna take their name, but they trained Rey, I guess. I mean, she got like 5 minutes of training in The Last Jedi, and maybe she got more in this movie. But would you take their name? I, should Luke have taken Obi-Wan's name or Yoda's name? I don't. It doesn't make sense. If she okay, and even if she took their name, it's pretty stupid. It's like, oh, I'm gonna tell the story of Montgomery Burns, and we're gonna call it the Smithers Saga. I'm gonna. Why? Who the shit cares about? Are you saying then that the the Skywalker's grand contribution to the galaxy was they prevented Palpatine's granddaughter from becoming evil? I still don't see how how any of them really hold up a candle to the Palpatines. By the way, let's take some score. Let's take a score here. Okay, so all right, we'll do some simple math. So there are 2 Palpatines in the story, right? There's Emperor Palpatine and there's Rey, and there's no doubt in anyone's mind that Emperor Palpatine is evil. Okay, Emperor Palpatine evil, Rey good. Rey's been good for no reason, by the way. Rey has been good for no reason. She shows up. She's got a bunch of force powers. She accidentally becomes good by running into the characters of Star Wars. But anyways, we'll call it 50% of the Palpatines that appear in Star Wars are good. All right, still keeping score. 50% of the Palpatines are still good. Let's look at Skywalkers. Okay, Anakin Skywalker starts off good, ends up being Darth Vader. Does a little mea culpa at the end. But granted, the guy blew up fucking planets. He's still a bad guy. He, he's still a bad guy, right? So, Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader. Bad. We'll file him in the bad category. Then you got Luke Skywalker. Uh, mostly good. Mostly good. I mean, he did spend 30 years just being a fuck knuckle on an island doing jack all while the First Order continued to fill that power vacuum and Palpatine was still in charge. So he ultimately didn't accomplish anything until Rey gave him something to accomplish. Let's give him. I mean, he's almost 50-50 because he did the events of the first Star Wars to kill a clone. Good job. Three movies to kill a clone. Good job, guy. And then immediately just you know BTFO on the galaxy and tries to kill a kid, right? Tries to kill young Ben Kenobi or Ben Solo because he's afraid he's evil, right? What's up with Skywalkers be killing kids, man? Anakin be killing kids. He killed the younglings, and Luke almost killed kids. What the shit is that about? Anyways, we'll file him like maybe a little bit more towards the good, okay? But he's still partially evil. Then you have Leia. You could argue, okay, Leia's pretty good, so we'll file her on the good side. And then you have Kylo Ren, who uh, kind of the opposite of Luke, right? If Luke is 70% good and 30% evil because of his ditching the galaxy and then if essentially just dying a fuck up and like bad, uh, nearly killing his nephew. Kylo is the opposite of that, right? Kylo is probably 30% good, 70% evil. Let's just call it a wash there, maybe. And then, well, no, Kylo's still mostly evil. What I'm saying is, the Skywalkers aren't. If you took score of the alignments of the Skywalkers and the Palpatines, best case scenario, you have a tie, 50-50. So the Skywalkers aren't necessarily more virtuous than the Palpatines either. They're not even better protagonists than Palpatines because Palpatines are still 50-50. So what the fuck did I just watch? Like, why is this a saga? If that's going to be the answer, I why should I and why should we be invested in? Oh, Skywalker. Oh yeah, he killed the clone. He taught the Emperor how to make bigger and worse weapons. Let them get bigger and stronger every time. Does it? Does it really? Does, is that really the contribution to the galaxy? Ugh. Sorry, Skywalker. The Skywalker legacy is jack shit. It's sorry. It's it's a shat. It's like they're like the Marcy to the peppermint patty now. They will always be second fiddle from now on. Yeah, there's a there's a girl running around with their last name because she thinks it's like a big deal, but she's a Palpatine, right? Sorry, man. Did did Skywalkers did they develop any new force powers? Not really. If you look at being a force ghost, that was something Obi-Wan was looking into. If you look at, Force Speed, that was a Qui-Gon Jinn thing. If you look at Force Healing, oh, guess what? That's a Rey Palpatine thing. If you look at Lightning, that's an Emperor Palpatine thing. What did the Skywalkers honestly do? What did they? Oh, because we get to see Princess in the Slave bikini worth it. Okay. Your logic stands, Nelson. Okay. It's fine. Well, I'll accept that. It's an acceptable answer. But I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater. It's fine. I'm okay with that. I can accept being a hater, but I will not accept this just shut up and consume attitude. If I don't like something, I don't like something. If you like if you like something, then like it. Okay? I don't mean to be disparaging for the Star Wars fans. I'm just stating observations. And like I was saying, in my last feed, I understand that a lot of people like Star Wars because the universe, the setting is really pretty cool. And you know, even if the central storyline lately especially has had problems, they can, it's Star Wars. The Star Wars universe is still a fairly cool escape for folks that like lightsabers and um, X-wing fighters and whatnot. I think Daisy Ridley is very attractive for some reason. Oh, I'll just say not my type. I'll just say not my type. I don't know. She just never did anything for me. But I mean, that was never really my reason for like watching or being invested in Star Wars at all. But it wouldn't hurt, right? It wouldn't hurt if we had some, I could watch like ScarJo in a. How come you're not seeing other? I'm not sure, man. It's just you're not seeing Nelson's comments. I don't know. Maybe YouTube or Disney has found out I'm talking shit. Maybe they're trying to shut me down. They've labeled me a Russian bot. Do you remember that? Anytime you talk shit, you're a Russian bot now. what what the hell? Why is everything like Russian bot if you don't like something? You're like, oh, you didn't like the last Marvel movie, Russian bot. You didn't like Star Wars, Russian bot. What? What? Who are these Russians that are just sitting around going, I can't wait to ruin next Star Wars movie by making bots that do criticisms on YouTube? I don't understand. But yeah, I just, it's Rise of Palpatine, dude. Yes, they took, it's actually, if you're a true Skywalker fan, don't you consider that title a little insulting? It's called Rise of the Skywalker, but the Skywalker is not a Skywalker. Am I? Maybe I'm just looking at that wrong, but I don't know. How many people would be happy if, like, you know, all the Starks died and Theon Greyjoy was like, I'm more powerful. I'm gonna call myself Theon Stark. You know, this what simple questions, guys. Simple questions. Am I? Let me know if I'm like out of line. I will shut up if it's starting. If I'm like off base, out of line, I will shut up. It's fine. I'll shut up for you, but I won't shut up for people on the internet going, just shut up and consume. Because that's never okay. If people came at me and was like, hey man, the John Wick story doesn't make sense, and I'm like, oh yeah, but I just like it for the action. I understand that I'm not going to be getting award-winning storytelling when I watch a John Wick movie. I'm just really there for the gun fu. And that sounds hypocritical. But what I don't do is I don't tell people to just shut up and consume. They don't like John Wick because the story seems dumb to them. Good. Don't watch John Wick. I'm not going to call you a man baby or a misogynist or whatever. You don't show up to the next John Wick movie. That's the problem. If we can disagree on shit, it's fine. But if I vote with my feet or my wallet, you don't get to call me out on that. That's just how I am. I'm happy. It's 100 times better than The Last Jedi. Definitely has its flaws. That's cool, man. I'm glad you're happy with it. That's good. I think a lot of people, a lot of invested fans. I'm definitely not an invested Star Wars fan. Like I basically checked out at the prequels, so I am not a Star Wars. I'm not an invested Star Wars fan. Um, I know a lot of the invested fans were worried because of TLJ that they were going to get handed a shit pie. A lot of them still feel like that, post seeing this movie, that they got handed a shit pie. Uh, and I feel bad for them. But for the people that enjoy it, that's good, right? I've seen on the internet, I've seen about a 50-50 split. I've seen people. The weird thing is, the people that I thought were going to land one way landed the other. So, goes to show what I know. Like some people that I was like, oh man, he's gonna hate this movie. Like when I heard the spoilers and we're like, oh, these are the people that are gonna like the movie. These are the people that are gonna hate the movie. And I've been pretty wrong about that. Like I've been wrong about my predictions of who would like it and who wouldn't like it. There's some people that are just like that are unfortunately kind of um, force themselves to be on one side or the other, and so you can't. So I was right about those people, but that's not really right about their taste per se. That's more right about their attitude. And again, if you don't like something, don't like it. It's fine. You can, and yes, you can tell the internet and the world that you don't like something. I hate that, you know, that agenda, if any, for lack of a better word. I hate that agenda of getting people to shut up that voice criticism. That's wrong. People should be allowed to voice, you know, criticism anytime they effing want. It's fine. Universe is rich and beautiful. It's. I, I will say this though, Nelson. I will challenge you a little bit and say, knowing what the average. Well, I can't say average. We'll call them. We'll call them the hardcore Star Wars fans. And there are a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans out there. Don't you think you could have taken 4 or 5 hardcore Star Wars fans, put them in a room, and come up with a way better trilogy than the Disney trilogy? Just am I off base for saying? Hey, what's up, Jamjar? Doing well, man. Do you, what do you think about that, Nelson? Because personally, I think I could put you and like 4 other Star Wars people in a room, like Star Wars fans, and just wipe this Disney shit clean and go, all right, guys, you have the whole Star Wars universe. You have the Skywalker legacy, which would still be intact even after the prequels. Come up with a new set, a new trilogy. And in my opinion, I think there is a 99% chance that the 5 people that you put in the room could have come up with, at the very least, a more cohesive storyline than what we got. It's very it's very obvious that the visions of the directors that were involved um, were very, very different. And it was that that hard divergence into that second movie that really wrecked the, that really divided the fandom. But all of that ultimately, the responsibility there lies with the head of studio for not, because I'm one of those people that firmly believes that these last two movies prove that there was never a plan, that there was never a cohesive plan for this last trilogy. And how are you going to go into a trilogy of films without a plan beforehand? That's my opinion. I really don't have any facts to back that, but I think based on what we're seeing that's evident that it's evident that they didn't have a plan, right? How come I'm seeing a shadow? Oh, Sha- Shadowcat's comment showed up on my screen and it didn't show up in the comment section. What the hell? It was like I'm Kathleen Kennedy and then it disappeared. I didn't get to see the rest of the comment. Fell in love with Star Wars since 12 when I moved to the States. I connected with the kids. Yeah, absolutely. Many expanded universes, especially Timothy Zahn, made it so rich and diverse. That's what I'm saying, though. I think you're even if you liked, you know, parts of this trilogy or even all of the trilogy, I think there's still a case to be had that it feels like the studio was. It still feels like they were fairly careless with the IP. I'll make that case to people that were even happy with the the Disney trilogy, right? I don't think people would dispute that. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone, even the most hardcore fans, I don't think they would dispute that. And that should be everybody should agree that that's disappointing. Um, that you know that this franchise was was mishandled in one way or another, pretty much no matter how you land on your opinion of the trilogy, you can still see where the trilogy was mishandled. And that's really where I'm coming in going, we need to that needs to be examined. It, and yes, there was agenda pushing in these films. And I'm fairly against that kind of thing. I think that you can actually do some of that in films and popular media as long as it's not the primary goal. You know what I mean? I don't mind it being in there the as long as it's not the primary goal. you know, Return of the Jedi was on TV last night, and I was watching some Return of the Jedi with my son, and and you go into the planning for the attack on the second Death Star, and you go into that room, and you're like, oh look, there's Mon Mothma, there's Princess Leia, there's it's a very diverse room. Um, you got uh, diverse in a lot of ways. And back when that movie came out, 1983, I was in third grade when I saw that movie. A third grader, it didn't no it was not a big deal to anybody. It was not a big deal to anybody that a female was in charge of the rebellion. It just and that there were high-ranking female officers in the rebellion. It was not it. No one made a big deal of it. It just didn't matter. And now it matters. And I'm like, how? Wait. The whole point of it was that it shouldn't matter. Anybody can do anything. If am I feel like we were way more, quote unquote woke about it back then. Oh God, I screwed that up. Than we are now. Now it's like a big effing deal. Did you see that? Did you see that? Ah, not really. I don't understand. Okay, we'll keep working. These guys are so cool. I do like these dudes. They're growing on me. At first, I really wasn't liking their. I realized that once the base comes in, then they'll start looking. Uh, then you'll start to see the colors pop a little bit more, right? But right now, with all these things, um, it's just right now everything looks fairly desaturated, which is okay. But yeah, stay skeptical. That's my only. That is my only bit of advice. No matter how you feel about other topics, you know, exercise your right to say when you like something, and exercise your right to say something when you don't like something. I, and I think we need to support and encourage other people that do that. Otherwise, how is, as a society, how we ever going to be, working on hearts and minds if there's really only one correct way to think and everybody else needs to shut up and consume? I got real problems with that. And I know we're just talking Star Wars here, but I see a growing trend like that, like this or else. Be part of this or else. The only good bit in Last Jedi was force projection, but go look after that. Okay. Yeah, watching uh, Return of the Jedi last night with my son, it was he got really into like things like the speeder bikes and all that stuff, and he liked the Jabba the Hutt battle. Seeing Luke Skywalker do cool stuff. It just made me sad. I was like, "Aw, poor Luke. All this work didn't really accomplish anything." I guess he accomplished a small thing, is he got to connect with his dad before his dad died. So I guess that's something, right? That's cool. Okay. Now let's start working on the basing. So lots of grays, dark grays, browns. We'll do I want to do a brown, but like a really, not like a chocolate brown. This is chocolate brown. It's too much red in there. I need it to be um, a much paler brown, right? Because we're going for like a deader earth. Let's see what we got. That's not terrible. I will go. Last Jedi or whatever is now on like network TV, so I will actually watch it now. I didn't watch Force Awakens till like almost a year after it came out. There's so many people were hype about it, and I was like, guys, are you sure? So I waited like almost a year, and then I started watching it, and like after the first 30 minutes, I had like 40 questions, things that didn't make sense to me, and I was like, ugh. So I went ahead and finished the movie, and I was like, I don't know, man. it's one of my favorite critics, Red Letter Media, they put out their review of Rise of the Skywalker, and one of the reviewers said something that really kind of resonated with my opinion, which was like, oh well, you know, this whole house of cards is really being held together by um, a really good universe and a fluke of a movie called Empire Strikes Back. And like, yeah, that's pretty much where I stand on it. I'm not saying that's the correct opinion, but that's where I stand on this. How'd you start the basing? Oh, that's a great question. It's a very, very cool product I'm using for the basing. Let me first just kind of, I'm just going to put in some patches of like dead earth here. One of my favorite little tricks for when you don't, when you're not going to physically swap out a base is pumice, right? Um, where's my, so you can get this Vallejo gray pumice. There's actually a few different types. Gray pumice is in my opinion, the best one. But if you can't get gray, you can even use a product like um, black lava. So, oh good, thanks Shadowcat. Right for Mando's, cool. I would not date her if they paid me. I have standards. Whoa, I'm missing Shadowcat telling us about. I'm not sure who she would not date if they paid. Anyways, um, yeah, Black Lava is a really good one. It's the same product, only it's glossier. So I prefer to stay in the gray. This is I think they package it this way now, Vallejo ground texture, and it's really nice for doing basing like this. So um, I'll show you an unprimed one. So the key is not to overdo it, right? Here, this is it dry, but you go as thin as humanly possible when you do it. You go super thin, and you make sure that the edge of your base is still nice and clear. So you may come back and do this number. Just scrape it flush like that. But you don't want this to be too raised up. You just want it thin enough so it doesn't look like the model standing in quicksand or anything. You still get a little bit of that. There's still a little bit of a sunken look. It's just the natural consequence of you pushing that up against the bottom of the leg there. So, but yeah, it's a great product. It's a time saver, and it really does help you know the bases to look good. So I'm just gonna put all of that down. Yeah, I think these guys still need a little bit of work, but we'll keep working on them. I'm not convinced that they look great. They look okay. They're getting there. Now, because these are going to be, this is a winter theme, and I'm going with snow here. The prequels are freaking better than. Yeah, like I said, I grew up on the original trilogy because I'm an old dude, so you can be like, okay, boomer. Uh, but so I grew up on the original trilogy, and when the prequels came out, I was the first one in line because I loved Darth Vader. When I still he's still one of my favorite characters of all time. Still love Darth Vader so much. Even though I would tell you right now I'm not a Star Wars fan. It's still I still love my Vader, man. He's still dope. Anyways, when I found out that the prequels would be focusing in on his story, the origins of Darth Vader, I basically went apeshit over that, right? I was like, whoa, uh, I really need to watch this because Darth Vader has been my favorite character for a very long time, and I hope it's very good. And I followed it very closely, and I read articles of interviews of uh, George Lucas and what he was planning on doing with the prequels. And yeah, and like I said, I when the movie came out, um, stood in line, right? Got super hyped, stood in line for I don't know, probably a good 3 hours or so to go in and watch the Phantom Menace. And walking out of the Phantom Menace, um, you know, I was very silent. I was very silent walking out. And my then wife at the time, who was also a huge Star Wars fan, just like me, um, she knew something was odd, right? Because I'm a loudmouth. I talk shit all the time. Like, I cannot shut up. So I'm like one of the worst people to watch movies with or anything like that. Uh, and so she was like, okay, something's going on here because he ain't said shit. Uh, so so yeah. So she asked me about it, and I was like, I cannot stomach this annoying kid as Anakin Skywalker. It made no sense to me um, as a kid, or that kid was, that kid is gonna grow up to be Darth Vader. I thought it was creepy, his whole thing with Padme. It made no sense to me. Why did they purposely make Anakin or decide to start the story when he was like 9? And if you're gonna do a 9-year-old kid who is, or we'll just say a kid who gets traumatized and stuff like that, um, it to me, I think you don't have a precocious little kid. I think you have a very quiet kid. You have a very shy kid, like an introverted kid. You have the opposite, right? And that this kid becomes like brooding and menacing and calculated. I had the Anakin and Obi-Wan relationship backwards in my mind. I thought that Obi-Wan would be, you know, more the reckless, passionate um, guy, and that Anakin would be this straight, appearing on the outside, this like straight-laced, student, this straight-laced Padawan who hits like a breaking point at some point, and then you know comes out as this fairly uh, corruptible Jedi. That's kind of how I had it in my head, and I wanted to, and I wanted the prequels to be more like that. Instead, the prequels were, were just horrible directing by Lucas. And I think I don't think too many people will dispute that. The directing was piss poor. Like, come on, you have Ewan McGregor, you have Samuel Jackson, um, you have Natalie Portman, you have some of the best actors of our generation on screen, and they all look like wooden planks because of the writing and directing. I'm just gonna leave that there. Anyways, the prequels were really what shook me off Star Wars. And so when the new trilogy was announced, I will admit, at first I did get a little bit hype. I was like, wait, okay, J.J. Abrams, okay, so it's going to be exciting. That's cool because, he does exciting. Um, and, they talked about using a lot of practical effects. And I was like, yes, please, because I was CGI, I was CGI outed by the time the prequels were over. It was just way too much CGI. I wanted to kill somebody over CGI. Like, I didn't pay money to watch a fucking Nintendo cutscene every time there was a battle. Like, if you look at Force Awakens, the the end, the Gungan fight or whatever, however you want to call it, it was just, it bugged the shit out of me. I was sitting there going doo 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 doo. Everything looked like a video game to me. And I was like, this is terrible. I don't feel any danger. I don't care if Jar Jar. Please let Jar Jar die. Please let Anakin die. Like, I don't like any of these characters. Qui-Gon's already dead. I liked him. You know, Obi-Wan is fantastic. Obi-Wan's still one of my favorite characters in the whole of Star Wars. Um, anyways, I just that's why the prequels had me out, and I was like, okay, three more movies went by, and I still really only liked Empire Strikes Back. So for me, I checked out at that point. I was like, yeah, I think there's really only one good movie from my point of view. So Star Wars isn't a good franchise. Like, I had to come to that. I had to come to that conclusion. As much as I didn't really like that conclusion. Um, let's see. Press the slide bars and select see all messages. Oh, okay. I watch. Okay. Jamjar watch Rogue One. Cool. And not hastily push out movies every 2 years. True. See your point, Octave. However, if Annie wasn't brash and passionate, he wouldn't have gone against the Jedi Order and had kids behind back. Yes, that is correct. But what I'm saying is the portrayal to me would have been he can be brash but you need to see I wanted to see more of like a duality. To me, the scariest people are sociopaths. And sociopaths, what makes them so scary is that sociopaths will look you in the face, will look you in the eyes, and with a completely straight face, and like no hesitation whatsoever, will lie to your face, will want to kill you, will want to do that stuff. And I look at Anakin Skywalker as like what an opportunity to portray a sociopath like that. What an opportunity to do something that cool. Um, so that's kind of how I was looking at, the potential telling of the origins of Darth Vader. He instead, between Hayden Christian and the Welch's grape jelly kid portraying them, instead it just seemed more like a brat. He just seemed more like this pissy little brat that became Darth Vader just because he had to, just because, Lucas said he had to. But it's not I wanted to see I don't know, maybe this sounds gross or whatever, but I wanted to really see the evolution, the birth of a true sociopath, of someone that is truly going to become evil. Um, that's what I wanted to see, and we didn't get that, and it that's what I was disappointed in. Anyways, Annie was calculated when driving those racers to be 10. Yeah, but just the little comments. Now that's Padre. I was just gonna punch someone in the face. I was just angry. I was just angry. Kid hits a button and like accidentally blows up like the important ship. Like what the? I come on, come on. And I get what Lucas was trying to do. He knew he's like, if I rile up a very, very young fan base, then I'll be able to sell my products better. I'll be able to sell action figures better. It made sense from a marketing point of view. That made sense what he was trying to do. It's just I don't. I was always of the opinion as a kid that grew up and read sci-fi and fantasy and stuff. I understood that sci-fi and fantasy and even comic books that I used to read at a very young age, I understood that those were for older kids. That was part of what made you a nerd, was that you read stuff and you consumed media that was designed for typically older people. All the fantasy books and sci-fi movies and stuff, those were designed for they were designed comic books were designed for college kids. When I was reading comic books, they're um, in these sci-fi fantasy movies. A lot of the really really good ones were like rated R. They were adult. Uh, these were adult oriented shows, and I understood that. And when they made stuff, so by the time they started making, science fiction and fantasy for kids, I would look at that and go, no, that shit's too tame or it's too juvenile. I don't like that. Um, that's just me, you know. I was gonna say a group of people they center around as a bunch of weak humans and a Wookiee. That's a pretty awesome observation, Shadow Cat. I like that. That's a cool way of putting it. So there's a bunch of just annoying humans and Chewbacca. I like that quite a bit. The other thing too, I mean, missing with this Disney trilogy, and was the idea that, for the original trilogy and even the prequels, um, R2D2 and C3PO were sort of were really they really represented the audience in a lot of ways. They were um, you know in so, they were some part narrator and they were some part audience as well. And I always thought that was kind of cool because they were the connective tissue of the first two sequels to come out. And this new sequel just doesn't have any of that um, connectivity. The characters, even the character relationships are very weak. They're not. They never had time. They never really had time to develop much in terms of their relationships. Even though, you can see the actors have good chemistry on screen. Like I noticed that in The Force Awakens. I'm like, oh, these actors have good chemistry, but why? I feel like I'm being force fed this idea that these guys are automatically best friends and that they love each other, and like why? I still didn't see like why are they so uh, attached to each other when they've only had 6 minutes of screen time together. If you look at the amount of time the trio of characters have had in this together on screen to interact with each other, I guarantee you it's not nearly as much as the Han, Leia, and Luke did um, in their trilogy, and that bothered me too. I'm like, why do what? Why can't they just build these relationships to be good, believable relationships? It's not hard. The actors seem like they do a good job. Even the prequels did a good job with the Obi-Wan and Anakin relationship. And as cringy as it was, they did actually at least dedicate screen time for, Anakin and Padme. It's awful. I just, man, when you watch the Clone Wars and their romance during the Clone Wars, I felt it was so. I felt like I needed to call the police. Right? I felt like I needed to save Padme. It's like, please, this is something's not right with this kid. He's gonna try something. Call the cops. It was so cringe and terrifying. I felt I felt like I felt like I had to say something or do something. But that yeah, they didn't the relationships in this last trilogy don't seem earned. They don't they just didn't have enough time to really flesh them out. And worst of all, not just that these characters should care about each other, but the audience should care about them. At no point do I care about any of the new characters at all. And I don't even think that, on the merits of just this trilogy, do I even care about the old characters? So, I don't know. Uh, it just so much of it just felt flat to me. Okay. Anyway, let's put some snow down. Let's shut up. Stop talking trash about Star Wars, Octave, and let's let's put some snow down on these guys. Almost snow on the base. Now you don't have to go nuts on these bases, but I figured these do look like winter type, assassin elves. So why not? Should look cool. Just a little bit of extra interest on the base doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I still I was talking about this last night. I was like, I still one day would love to have a full blown Darth Vader outfit, mask and everything, and walk around with the breathing sounds. And, I still want to have James Earl Jones voice all my thoughts. I think that would be awesome. So there's stuff like that. No matter what I say about Star Wars, that's how pervasive it is. That I can say that I don't consider myself a fan of Star Wars, but I still really love Darth Vader. Like I'm still fanatical, at least about the one character. You want to know what the real one of the real crimes for me was? And then in this last trilogy or the last movie, apparently there's no Nien Nunb in that last fight. How you not gonna have Nien Nunb in the last fight, man? You gotta have that dude. They had him in the Last Jedi. Gotta have some more Nien Nunb. Guy's awesome. Okay, looking pretty good. I I think there's still more I could be doing here, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I like the fighting scenes from Rogue One. Yeah, I watched Rogue One. I think in all fairness I should give it another shot because I was so jaded, admittedly, when I saw it that I I just like hated on it. Probably undeservedly hated on it. Um, I was a little mad that what's his name, Ip Man Donnie Yen, didn't have force powers. It was really starting to bug me. Like, how come there ain't no Asian people with force powers? It seemed to me that there were, and Lucas admitted that Jedi were based at least in part on samurai. Why ain't we have no Asians with force powers? I don't want to get into the identity politics thing, but it was just a question, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi. That sounds pretty Asian. That's a pretty Asian sounding name to me. Qui-Gon Jinn sounds pretty Asian to me. Could have had some Asians rocking some force powers at some point. Anyway, um, but yeah, Rogue One, I probably would like it a lot more. I just need to um, settle down and just try to sit and objectively enjoy a movie, and I probably will like Rogue One. I do with my brush. But yeah, Donnie Yen is dope. Um, the scenes with Forrest Whitaker were strange, really weird. I like the grittier storytelling in Rogue One. I like that quite a bit. Rogue One was definitely more of an adult sci-fi movie. And I don't mean adult as in the, nudity, sexy time sense. I just mean adult, like it was a grittier universe. It showed people the real horrors of people just dying violently uh, to stormtroopers. There were two in the Attack of the Clones arena fight. I didn't even notice. I know that they had I remember they had Jedi's of every. Basically, it looked like a Pepsi commercial with oh, we're Jedi's too, we're Jedi's too, and they all do the weird. They they had that horrible style of um, lightsaber fighting, which just looked like little kids all playing with yo-yos to me. I don't know why. The way that they wielded lightsabers in the prequels it was just way too arty and performative for me. It looked, like I said, it didn't look threatening. It didn't look like anybody was really fighting for their lives. Even the super long fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan, you know, in Revenge of the Sith. Like the way they're just casually twirling their lightsabers around and all that. It didn't, to me, it didn't convey, um, the magnitude and the emotion of that fight. I think Ewan McGregor's lines and the way he delivered them were freaking amazing, right? They were freaking. Ewan McGregor is just ridiculous, and you know, yes, my wife is in love with Ewan McGregor, and that's okay. You know, he's on the cheat list, and that's okay. That's bragging rights for me. He's a good-looking dude. Let's just accept it for what it is. I got. I think my cheat list is a little bit longer, but anyway, um, yeah, just the way he delivered the lines to Anakin, and it was super heartbreaking. I will say that. As much as I hated the prequels, just Obi-Wan, like his disappointment and his, you were a brother, I loved you, man, that just hurt. It hurt to hear him say it. You're like, oh man, Obi-Wan feeling it. So that was fantastic. But the fight itself was just, like I said, it's so performative. It's like, oh, I'm juggling and you're juggling, and our lightsabers are hitting each other in this absolutely perfect timing. It it I feel like it diminished that scene. If they were, swinging at each other with a desperation, like what I would one of the my favorite fighters on Game of Thrones was obviously Brienne of Tarth, right? Because she's one of my favorite characters, full stop, on that show. Because every time she fought, the actress was able to convey the emotions of being um, terrified and exhausted, and but also very strong and very she can even convey anger and all of that. She could put all of that in her, just the way she grunted and she grunted and screamed as she fought. Like, that was super cool. I was like, yeah, that's, we see all these movies where you got these like 120-pound women like flipping 300-pound dudes over their shoulders and shit, and it looks more like a circus. It looks like more like a Cirque du Soleil thing. Like, wow, look at how cool that acrobat is. Then it looks like someone really scared and fighting for their lives. Because I don't care what kind of badass you are. I don't care what kind of badass you are. If you are fighting somebody who's armed and trained to fight, and is designed to get out there and kill people, you are gonna fight with some fear. You are gonna be scared, and it, the way they do these fight scenes nowadays, they're so technically good that it to me just breaks the illusion. I need to feel scared for these characters. I need to feel like they're scared for their lives, and that that they're fighting for their lives. Um, and you just don't get that from a lot of these, modern day fight scenes. And yes, I'll call out John Wick. And I'm like, when John Wick is doing his gun fu thing, I'm not watching an epic struggle for life or death there. I'm watching a guy do some technically really cool gun fu, right? It's not I'm not watching that going, "Oh man, is this is John Wick going to get hurt or die here?" I'm like, "No. This is about we're going to watch John Wick like plow through this crowd, and I'm going to count how many people he kills going through the crowd." Let's see. Yeah, it was too artsy, but Obi was only counter what Annie was dishing out. It made sense. Obi was totally count. Yeah, yes, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you could tell that Obi-Wan was um, he was trying to convey some hesitation in that fight, and that he wasn't trying to harm his friend. Uh, like I said, man, Ewan McGregor just killing it, just killing scenes like that. I like the prequel combat better than the new set of movies. Yeah, I mean, geez, Force Awakens, just the fact that there is a contest with lightsabers with two completely untrained people and somebody that was trained by Luke Skywalker. I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. Just turn it off. I was like, what? That was when the Ray, and yes, even the Finn, okay, Finn put up a fight and then he lost. Okay. Yeah, sure, So it was cool. Like, his moment of bravery, his moment to step up. And then she gets in there and whoops Kylo Ren's ass, and I'm like, wait. One of these characters was trained by Luke Skywalker. One of these characters picked up a lightsaber roughly 31 seconds ago. Wait, what did I just watch? Why should I watch this anymore? Turn it off. It's bad. That's that's what was going through my mind. Like, what? Why should I? And then the overall point is like, I care for neither character. You just can't get invested in either character. I think and that's a shame too, because like I said, Adam Driver, pretty damn good actor. I haven't seen Daisy Ridley in anything else, so I can't judge. I'm sure she's probably a very good actress when they give her a role that isn't, hey, you get to be God at everything immediately. She probably is a pretty good actress, but you know how do you direct that? You're like, oh, don't worry, Kirito, you're just good. You're just good at this. You're just good at all this stuff. Don't worry. I don't know. I would say, yeah, you have. So from Star Wars, I just remember, man. Maybe again, it's the nostalgia. It's the memberberry shit rearing up its ugly head on me. But man, when I was a kid and Empire Strikes Back, I saw that shit in the theaters, 1981. I was in first grade. I was in first fucking grade, and that movie came out, and I remember being terrified as all shit when Luke was walking around Bespin, ready to activate his lightsaber, and just walking down those hallways, and you could hear the little hum of the hum of the machinery around them. And I was like, dude, he's just gonna get killed. He's just gonna get killed. Holy shit, right? Because they just froze Han, and you're like, oh my god, this movie took a bad turn. Like, please don't die, Luke. And then he falls. He gets his hand cut off, and then he falls down the thing, and I'm like, now he's really fucking dead. And he's hanging on to that little bottom of that antenna with his legs. I'm like, dude, life is over. Like, I can't tell you how formative that was for me in the first grade to see the good guys lose, right? And not just that, but like when he's fighting Vader in in uh in both movies, actually, in Empire and in Return of the Jedi, you're like, man, there's some real fucking stakes here. Like, dude, like these guys are really gonna hurt each other. And the prequels roll around, and I'm like, and it's almost like watching, uh, not even tennis, but like badminton. You know what I mean? It's like watching badminton. You ever watch like people play badminton, like the little spry Asian dudes be playing badminton, and that shuttlecock's like flying in there. They're wailing on that thing, and they have all kinds of dope moves, but none of it looks dangerous at all. It was like that. I'm just watching these. I'm like watching. They almost feel like they're uh, like I said, like they're doing yo-yo tricks. Like you just see them like casually flinging this shit over their shoulders and spinning around, and it just looks like they're just like either cleaning the area, or they're doing um, you know they're doing tricks with their new yo-yo thing. Um, I don't know, but yeah, I can't, believe it or not, I can talk about Star Wars in a good sense, but typically it's only in reference to the original trilogy. And I don't know if that makes me come off like some nostalgic hipster asshole. I'm down. I'm okay with that. I'm willing to accept that. If that's what it makes me look like, and I'm just some old asshole that can't accept change, that's fine. I'm just saying that shit was formative to me. Watching the good guys lose was formative to me. Watching Darth Vader, like being in the theaters and and watching Darth Vader confirm that he's Luke's father. As dumb looking back is like, oh, I should have called that shit a lot sooner. But but when I was in the theater, and he was like, "No, I am your father," I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, imagine that. You're in the first grade. Imagine all the bombs of the last 10 minutes of Empire Strikes Back and how formative that could be on somebody like me. You know what I'm saying? And you just never, and then Star Wars never having that level of gravity ever again for me. It never impacting me like that, right? That was like the purest hit of heroin back then. And all this shit now is just like street trash heroin. Like, just trying to get me high again, but none of it actually succeeds. That's what I'm talking about, you know. And maybe that's why I just can't be all about that Star Wars, man, because I like I think I would wait. I would just say that based on the circumstances of my birth and happening to be, that age and around then, that I I'm just more fortunate than your average Star Wars fan, and that I got to experience all of that like firsthand with no internet and no preconceived notions and or anything, just to live that drama. And it really was like emotional. The original trilogy, it really was emotional. Star Wars not so much, but Empire and Return. I remember, oh my God, third grade, Return of the Jedi's coming out, and my dad's taking me, and we're like, oh my God, man, we better win. We better win. That's all. Like that's how invested I was. Like we better win. Like I need this to happen for me, because I'm gonna re-examine my life if they do all this, and Luke and Leia and Han lose. Need to rethink my life, man. I mean, yeah, he all right. Dual wield church is all right. Empire's good guys. They have brought peace and security to the galaxy. You're gonna confuse peace with tyranny. Okay. Now you bring up a very interesting philosophical point, and I think it's one that gets covered in the Dune novels way better than Star Wars, right? Because in Dune, and everybody kind of knows theatrical Dune, which is Paul Muad'Dib um, ascending to become the emperor of the universe by leading the rebellion on Arrakis and taking control of the spice and all that stuff. Everybody knows that Dune, but there's a much greater, deeper message to Dune when you get into the novels post Paul Muad'Dib, specifically Paul's son, Leto II, who becomes uh, emperor of the universe. Like Leto II becomes the God Emperor in God Emperor of Dune, and it's it's such a philosophical uh, book that this guy, Leto II takes over the known universe. He's essentially omniscient, so he's a god and he's an emperor, and he rules the universe with an iron fist for 1,500 years, thousands of years, or whatever. And the point of the book, he goes on what is known as the Golden Path, which is he's going to save humanity by enforcing peace and tranquility with an iron fist. So all of humanity lives, they live and prosper. People aren't starving to death. There's no wars. There's nothing wrong with what's going on, but there's something inherently wrong with that. And what one of the main points of Dune is that not to accept tyranny, even if it means giving up peace, because man ultimately has to thrive on conflict, man. And I actually am a believer of this. I think that you we're built biologically for conflict, that we need as people. God, we're going to get into this, is horrible, but but as people, we need to um we we need to be able to compete and strive and achieve. And yes, that means people are going to win and people are going to lose. But that's what keeps humanity free and human ultimately. That is one of the great points of Dune, of the whole novelization of Dune, is it doesn't matter if you put somebody in charge and they do give you that quote unquote utopia of absolute peace and prosperity and tranquility, that's ultimately bad for mankind, because mankind does not grow the human spirit doesn't grow and thrive without adversity. It doesn't grow and thrive without the possibility of losing. And we're all conditioned to winning, and it's to the point where generations of kids at this point have only been given the option of winning and not the option of losing and um, accepting the real consequences of losing or failing. That's fucking scary to me. That's just me. That's just scary to me. I don't know. It was Thanks, Sean. They're cool. I don't think I'm doing that great of a job on them, if I'm being honest. Like, yeah. Um, yeah. So we're gonna let these guys settle. I still need to paint. I still want to paint the bottom trim here on that tabard. I'll figure it out. I thought I could do a deep blue there. It kind of looks okay gray, but I don't know. Let's see. Uh, there's a cool fan film remnants of the Order. Cool. Yeah, we paint minis and talk about movies we like. Hell yeah, I like watching movies. I need to watch more movies. I used to watch so many movies. But yeah, so those dudes they're basically done. There's stuff I need to go back and touch up and whatnot. Let me show you what. Oh shit, I forgot to paint their. I totally forgot to paint their banner. Oops. I gotta paint this at some point. That's easy. Let's knock that out at some point. It doesn't. I don't even have to do that tonight. Um, but I also have. Here's what I'm really excited to paint. I'll show you this. This is me and Nelson were looking at this tonight. Man, she is so dope. Check her out, man. I The metal one is better, but look at that. So I have two elf warbands basically. That I got that Shadow Warrior style elf, and then I've got this archer. Um, Basically, she's egret. I saw this warband and was like, yeah, I need this in my life. I need this in my life. I need that. And then check out these. I hate the GW elves are basically gone now and they look goofy, but look at these elves. These look like these are much more Tolkien-esque style elves. I love the flowing robes and the designs, and these are these are the kinds of elves I like. I like painting these style. The flat boss. Elysium is an illusion. Mankind needs adversity for progress, and yeah, philosophically that's where I stand, and it's not the nicest thing to say that, oh yes, we need adversity, we need something to struggle against. Ideally, I don't want it to be other people. I hope that we aren't struggling against other people. That's why, in some ways, if Earth were to encounter an alien threat, at least that would unite us together against a common threat. God, I'm starting to talk like Ozymandias from Watchmen. Oh, let's just make a giant squid thing that goes and eats millions of people in New York and kills them with psychic scream. But yeah, it's true. I do think that they're sad. It's a horrible truth to admit out loud. But yeah, mankind needs a fair bit of suffering, adversity, and loss in order to grow. And you know, I forget how the saying goes, but the stronger people are made in the most difficult times. And we've been as you know, as much as we get negative about what's going on in the news and whatnot, mankind overall is living in its safest, most prosperous point in its history. crazy enough to think about that, right? Even with um, all the mass shootings and um, bombings and wars, smaller wars and threats of wars all the time. Even with all of that around us, we're still statistically living in the safest, most prosperous time for humankind. And there's a lot of people I feel that are on the leading edge of that safety and prosperity that are kind of messed up, right? They've kind of lost the plot. Uh, they've lost what was important ultimately to being alive and being human. But I'm getting too deep, man. It's midnight, getting way too deep and philosophical. I will paint these guys. Oh, I can't paint tomorrow's Christmas Eve, yo. I might do it. People go to sleep early in this house. I might do it. Paint these elves. Elfses. Check out these elves. And then, once all the elfses are done, then we're going to go back one more time. We're going to go back and we're going to paint. We're going to paint the Wu-Tang. We will paint the Wu-Tang Clan. It's going to be so dope. Those are my 3 factions in GodTear. I got 2 elf factions in the Wu-Tang Clan. So, anyway, this is a super fun feed. I'm glad I kicked on the camera and started to paint. GodTear is dope. Pretty fun to paint. Uh, the game is pretty good. I'm being honest. I'm not. It's not the. It don't give me that like hype craze that Guild Ball gives me or Malifaux. It's a decent game. It's the minis and whatnot and the convenience of the game make it ultimately worth playing.